What's one of the dumbest things you've ever spent money on? I was 11 and my dad gave me $50 to spend at the mall. So, I wandered into a gift shop and spent it all on an electronic vibrating oinking pink pig. I never played with it after I brought it home. Tried to return it, only to be offered store credit. You taught your father a valuable lesson in financial responsibility. Haha, that's a great way to put it. There was this guy named Don Lapper who sold money making kits, like how to make money with classified ads. I think I invested about $350 and received literally nothing of value. I was young and being stupid. Looked him up tonight to remember how to spell his name. Turns out he killed himself with a razor blade while in jail in 2011. I have to say, his TV commercials were very convincing. Thankfully at the time I was young and broke, so I couldn't pay for his nonsense. If I had enough room on my credit card, I would have. I finally figured out that he implied lots of income, but the testimonials only talked about revenues. You can get paid teaching people how to get paid, then charge $120 for 1-hour classes and save here 40 to 70% off. When I went on a school field trip to Washington DC back in middle school, I bought a $2 bill at a souvenir shop for $20. SMH. I've gotten those at banks. Just give them $1 and they'll give you a $2 bill. CKS. I was drunk and bought Monster Ballads off an infomercial, and I paid an extra $20 for rush delivery because I was drunk and needed it ASAP, and it showed up a month later. I've always wanted to meet someone who bought music off an infomercial. This is a big thrill for me. My sister bought one of those, now that's what I call music CDs. Actually had some cool tunes on it and played it on our stereo. Then Napster and LimeWire kicked in and we couldn't give a single duck about it. I spent $40 one of those amusement park booths where you had to throw darts at balloons. For some reason, I picked out this really ugly 7 feet tall frog stuffed animal. It's in the corner of my closet and still scares me when I'm half awake in the morning. I had one of those from Six Flags. I won it early in the day and my dad was so pissed. I named his Froggy McCopperstein and kept him for over 10 years. My mom finally got rid of him, saying she couldn't spare that much space for him anymore. RIP. Here's the deal. When I was in 8th grade, my class went on a field trip to Six Flags. I played the ring toss game where you had to toss the rings on the bottles. I won on my first bucket and picked out a 6-foot stuffed whale. This was at like 9 in the morning and I had to now carry this with me all day. A couple hours later I played the ring toss again and won again. So this time I picked out a 5-foot stuffed dog. Now, as a 90lb 8th grader, I couldn't carry both of these with me. So I enlisted a friend and we carried them around and had to leave them at every single ride we went on. They were heavy. Finally a guy asked me if he could buy the dog and I told him sure, for $50. Took that money back to the ring toss game and lost all of it. The whale was cool, but I never did anything with it other than having it just sit in my room. Worth it because I was king of the ring toss. When I was like 14 I bought a pack of intentionally mismatched socks that were really expensive. Like, only one of each pattern. Could have bought twice as many normal socks and just mismatched them myself. I did this too, but to make it worse I bought 2 packs so that I could match them. This is some galaxy brain shit right here. When I was 19, I got a construction job that paid fairly well. Stupid me got all hot and horny for a fun car. I signed up for a 5-year loan after test driving the first one. I ended up having engine failure almost 2 years later because it was a used car and from a shady used car dealer. The warranty was well expired. I couldn't afford to get a new engine for it, so I ended paying over 3 years for a car that I wasn't driving. You got roped in like a junior enlisted member. I was just a few weeks out of basic training and bought one of those family lineage with the shields on it and description. I blew $500 or so bucks just to find out it wasn't even accurate. Lol, classic boot. And I was booting hard. I bought a timeshare. Winner. The only winner here is the timeshare seller. Most expensive dumb thing, a Mercedes 500 cell. Literally bankrupt myself buying parts and gas for that ducking land yacht. Sold it for half what I paid and felt lucky to be rid of it. Dumbest dumb thing, a metallic gold laden painting of a Pontiac Firebird. It uses white trash, and I had planned on putting it in a family gift exchange as a joke, but didn't end up going, and got stuck with it. It's currently hanging in a storage room, like all classy paintings do. Hang it in your garage so all your neighbors see it whenever you open your garage. Hang it in the garage so that the Nissan Versa that replaced the 500 cell knows its inadequacy. ShamWow. I mean, it's got sham right there in the name. But I wanted to support Vince from ShamWow's crusade against Scientology. Big wedding. All that money. Cold helped so many problems we had later. Divorced anyway. Believe it or not, there is a correlation between money spent on a wedding and the likelihood of getting a divorce. The more you spend, the more likely you are to get divorced. Guess I'm stuck with my grumpy ass ginger for a long ass time. We had breakfast at a local diner, went to town hall, then celebrated with a walk around a lovely pond. Twas nice. Twas cheap. I was pretty high one night and bought a pool net handle, one of the 16-foot metal ones, in order to turn off the living room lights from the couch. Edit. Added these as a comment, but it got buried. Sorry, I've been sleeping, haha. It'll try and answer all the questions I've seen. Most importantly, it does work. It's heavy when fully extended, but there's a rail I can balance it on between me and the light. Takes a bit of practice. I also do remember thinking about getting smart lights, but honestly I'm renting this house and it's a wall switch, so I didn't want to take it apart to make it smart. For $25. I can't say I regret this one. It sits behind my couch in a little gap, so it's not too much of an eyesore. I haven't broken anything yet. Emphasis on yet. I'm sure I will. No, I don't have a pool. Edit 3. I didn't buy smart bulbs. And won't in the future. Because it's 10 bulbs on racks. Cheap. Easy. And I was high. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Does it work? Because I need to know. Buy a Bluetooth connected light switch. Switch it off from your phone. The blanket that makes you look like a giant burrito. It was super thin and of poor quality. Not to mention not big enough to cover me. Now it'll never look like a burrito. As an owner of this burrito blanket, yes, it is small. But it is very soft and very comfortable. I think there's more than one on the market. I'm betting yours is better than mine. Boxes. I never save them and toss them in recycling. Well, moving time came around and I was in need of many boxes. So I spent more money than I would like to admit of cardboard and bubble wrap. Most boxes aren't anything special, and generally you don't need to keep them. The one exception I have made is a box of my TV. I read a moving tip on Reddit actually, to keep your TV box, so it makes moving your TV that much easier. A few months later I snag a TV for like 40% off from a going out of business sale, and kept the box and styrofoam that came with it, and yeah, moving it was a breeze. I bought a make-it-yourself music box with a series of cards to punch out the notes and then insert so you can play whatever tune you want. Thought I could make my GF a special gift. Then I realized that I can't read music, and when I tried to punch it by ear it sounded bloody awful. Edit. You see. This is why I love Reddit so much. A whole heap of helpful messages and comments, and just 6 hours later I can now make something that is vaguely recognizable. Here you go, Reddit. Link. com//grosso1z. You earned this. Thanks everyone. I have one of these, and it's sweet. Google Music Box tabs or MIDI converter and 12-pin. You can get a few great songs that are easy to punch and play well. Or, you upload a MIDI file, and it converts for you. Good luck. Got that inflatable dinosaur costume. Wore it once around my campus and now I forgot where it is. I ducking love those. First time I ever saw one was Halloween 5 or so years back. I was doing some late night grocery shopping. The dinosaur was hobbling through the produce section. Something about watching it trying to grab lettuce with its tiny arms just made me lose it. I got a bad case of the giggles standing in line, which turned out to be contagious. Still crack up when I think about it. I went around campus as a freshman, and it was great. I went to my 400 people lecture as if nothing was wrong and sat in the back so the fan didn't disturb others. My prof probably recognized me because I always sit by the front and never missed a class. Ducking nerd lol. I ended up on the school Instagram and one of my profs ended class early because it imagine a nylon suit isn't too comfortable to study in. A copy of Cory in the House for the Nintendo except FO $30 in 2019. Bold move. Got drunk and started ordering ninja gear off of Amazon and forgot about it until it showed up like a week later. Swords, nunchucks, a suit and mask. Please send photos. That's hilarious. Ed had a few drinks, TGIF, and wandered into a Williams-Sonoma store in a state of euphoria. There I saw a special edition KitchenAid stand mixer made in bronze that was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It was on sale for $999. Naturally, I bought it. But because I'm a single guy who doesn't bake, it's just taking up much needed counter space. No time like the present to learn. Well, that's highly debatable if flour and yeast and other various baking supplies are as unobtainable currently for op as they are for me. This past Christmas Eve I was doing some last minute shopping and came across a wine glass shaped like Buddy from the movie Elf, which of course also had Will Ferrell's face on it. With everything kinda being out of order with the holiday rush, I didn't know how much it cost. But I bought it on pure impulse because I thought it was funny. It wasn't until I left the store and looked at the receipt did I realize that it cost $22, which is way more than it's worth. To remind me of my mistake, I now drink out of that glass exclusively and have been for the past 5 months. I have to wash it like twice a day, but I won't stop using it until I feel like I've gotten my $22 worth. This is ducking hilarious LMAO. Gifts for my mother. She complains every single time. I bought my parents a new smart TV for Christmas after they'd been compliant about their old one and how much of a hassle it was watching things like Netflix. The TV is still in the box. This makes me think of my dad. He was always very embarrassed and ashamed when I would buy him gifts. He was a very tender-hearted guy and very much a provider for our family. I think it was a combination of his difficulty in figuring out how to deal with feeling so loved and cared for. He also grew up very poor and was very proud of the fact we were a very solid middle-class family, and he was such a great provider for us. He really felt that it was his duty to provide for us because he loved us. I was so blessed to have him for a dad because he would take care of us when we were little because my mom worked nights at JCPenney's. This was in the early 1960s, so he was way ahead of his time. One time I asked him why he did that when it wasn't acceptable, and he said, "Well, yeah, my kids too." He died in 2000 and I miss him every single day. The 500 cat toys in my house, me cat will never play with any of them, yet I get tricked into buying them when I go into the pet store. Why? Why do you do this to me? Get a box, Tupper or tin with lid. Put all the toys inside with some catnip. When you want to play with your cat, just take one toy and lend it to it. They'll love it again. When you see they don't use it anymore, return it to the box so it re-impregnates with the catnip. Be careful. The receptacle should be insulated if you don't want your cat to find all the toys plus CATNIP. Edit, spelling. I bought a cat eye stencil off Amazon that's supposed to help with liquid eyeliner application. Because my hands are shaky as duck. Didn't check the reviews. It's a crappy piece of plastic shaped like a cat that breaks really easy. Apparently. I wouldn't know. I bought it a week ago drunk, and it's shipping from China with an estimated arrival of July 2070. Edit. Literally saved every bit of advice for my attempts tomorrow. Thanks all. OMG, I bought that thing last year. It's such a stupid product. Tried it twice before giving up. Turns out huge cat-shaped pieces of plastic don't exactly fit into the corners of hooded eyes. Both times I looked like it let my dog try to do my macube. I bought a pager. The clip snapped. I took it to where I bought it. We only cover the pager, not the case. I walked outside right in front of the window and spiked the shit out. 8F it. walked back inside, and said my pager is broken. Did it work? After I returned it. Yay. I bought my oldest a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. You see, that's the problem. Once you learn to dance like one, you'll attract 50% more attention without buying anything. A pocket pussy. It was back when me and my wife were still dating. We were out of town for a concert, a festival, or maybe just the weekend. And there was this big, heavily advertised and kinda posh adult shop just a block or two down the road from a hotel. The last day of our trip, we didn't have anything planned. So we ended up going into this shop. They had a whole floor devoted to dildos and vibrators. And my wife found one she really liked. I started joking around about how they have all these toys for women and nothing for guys. And one of the shop employees overheard. He brought us up to the 3rd floor and showed us this large-ish section that was all duck toys. It was like 4 whole rows, each one 20 foot long, packed to the brim with silicone pussy. They had feet with pussies, hands with pussies, tits with and without pussies, headless and limbless torsos, mouths of all variety, and a whole line of head to toe, life-size duck dolls. Most of it was really expensive, but I managed to find this one that had a glove attached to a pussy and arsehole for like $40. So I bought it. We paid for our purchases and went back to the hotel to have fun. My wife really liked her toy, and after a while she asked if I wanted to use mine. I thought about it for just a second and then said no. We had our fun, packed up the next morning and left. I stuck the pocket pussy on our coffee table to mess with some friends who were coming over the next day. After the friends left, it ended up in the back of our closet and stayed there through a move in more than a decade, until my 6-year-old found it last November. Purchased to traumatize your future children. Before we had kids, my husband worked with a guy who created a sex toy. It was not phallic at all. He brought bags of the early samples home. Fast forward a couple of years, and we still have bags of medical grade silicone sex toys. And now I have a baby. My son was teething. I put one in the fridge, and it made a great teething toy. My health visitor came one day, and she thought it was hysterical. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Reddit videos.